Hi guys, Jason from Thrive Endurance. I just thought I'd just do a quick video on basically talking a little bit about pacing. And seeing I just got back from a run, and that's what my mind's thinking about. I'm talking about run pacing. So what I've found as an age group coach is that especially new athletes, and not necessarily just new athletes, probably 80% of athletes, pacing is really, really poor. They're really totally reliant on using their watch, which isn't a really good indicator. It is a good tool, but it's not a great indicator for run pacing because it reacts slowly. So you might pick up your pace and look and still think you're running slow. Then all of a sudden you look again, you're running too fast, and it does your head in and you start running like this. So basically I think once I'm running well, or an indicator that I think that I'm running well is I can literally run by feel. So, I'll be running along, and before the 1K, it's the only time I look at my watch, I just have it set to lap at 1K just so I've got an idea. When I look at that 1K, I'm pretty much can say within 5 seconds of what pace that's going to be. So one really important thing that I think you need to learn is multiple paces. Most people are just really good just at one speed. One pace, that's it. You'll go, okay, what's your run pace? I go, 5-minute Ks. And that's what I do. That's what I do my runs. That's an example. You go, well, what's your park run time? And I go, 25 minutes. So, you're basically doing all your run pacing at your maximum threshold, where they think that's their comfortable pace. So that's where perceived effort is way out. So that's where a watch can come in to help, because you can then, you can look at trying to set the paces with your watch. If a park run time is 5-minute Ks for you, is your max, your normal run pace should be a lot closer to 6-minute Ks, sort of thing. So what I've just done then is, I think what's a great way to learn to run and to learn to learn your paces is a run build. So I've just done a 10K run, a run build. And so basically what I do is I start off slow and easy. Slow is just a word. I start off easy, and every kilometer I try and just build it up at about 5 seconds per kilometer faster. So I learn to change, my cadence, my stride length, to use these indicators to base off pace. And I'm really happy. I just did 10Ks, and every single kilometer by feel I picked up 5 seconds per kilometer, except for the last 3 I picked up 10. If you look down below, I'll add a screenshot of my build run, so you'll be able to see, I went through the paces. Another really good indicator, I think, a good thing that people need to learn to do is warm up. So that first 5 or 10 minutes, just run slow. Like most people, that I find, is that their first 1 kilometer or their first 200 meters is their fastest run of the whole run. And this just doesn't make sense. So basically what happens if we do this, as soon as we've run too fast for 1 or 2 kilometers, we just bring our heart rate up. And then basically, as the session gets longer or harder, because we've been going longer, all we do is we get slower, but our heart rate stays the same and our pace goes down. This is a really bad thing. So what we want to do is we want to start off easy, and then as the session gets warm up with a low heart rate, so then as we start to run, our heart rate goes up with our pace, not the other way around. Our pace comes down to keep our heart rate high. So I think that's probably the really big key. Another thing is, if you can't really control it at the start, I think what you need to do is 5 or 10 minutes run, warm up, and then stop and walk, just to bring that heart rate back down. So then you start at a level playing field, because if you start with your heart rate high, it will never come back down. So if you just stop, walk for 30 seconds, a minute, just after your warm up, and then you start with your heart rate back down, you start with your pace zones again. So that is probably, I think, the biggest mistake that most age group athletes make is they go out too fast and get the heart rate too high in their warm up, and then they can't sustain that because that's using up all their energy reserves, because your heart rate controls where your energy reserves are coming from. It's not muscular. The muscular controls your speed, but if your heart rate's high, it doesn't want you to die. It can only go so high, so it'll make you fall over. So the only way for it to stop you is to take all your glycogen and slow you down. Put lactic acid in the legs. That's why it does it, to slow you down so that you fall over and you don't kill yourself. So don't let that control that. And just get out there, and try and learn to run by feel. But until you can learn to run by feel, use your watch as a gauge. But just, you know, go out there and, you know, if you're trying to run slower and you're going, I can't run slow, well, you can, because once you blow up, you end up running slower. So learn to run slow when it's easy and learn to run fast when it's hard. That's the key, you know, because in races, it's going to get hard, and that's when you want to run fast. You know, if you train yourself that once you're tired, you start plodding and you slow your cadence down and blah, blah, blah. And another key, I think, is when you slow down, is keep the cadence up. Don't do like slow. Keep your legs turning over nearly at the same cadence. It's when you're running fast. And then as you run faster, you just increase your stride length. So yeah, really work. I think pacing is the key for running, especially controlling pace. Don't worry, I think you pretty much can't run too easy or too slow of a pace. You're never going to do any damage doing that, but you're definitely going to do damage running too fast. Training your aerobic zone to blow up, you know, not training your aerobic zone and then training yourself to get slower with a high heart rate. So then you're actually training yourself to run slow with a high heart rate. We want to train ourselves to run faster with a lower heart rate, and then we're going to have more energy reserves to last longer, to go faster, finish races, less inflammation, less recovery needed, less fatigue. All right, guys, get out there, have a bit of a go. You know, a good way to probably do it to start with is maybe run just 200 or 400 meter laps so that you can keep an eye on, because 1 kilometer is still a long way. Yeah, but get out there, have some fun, learn how to pace. If you can learn to pace and run by feel, you'll enjoy it much more than watching this clock, because this clock will do your head in. Learn to run by feel, learn to enjoy running. It doesn't always have to be hard. You don't always have to be puffing your guts out. 80% of the time you shouldn't be. So, and then you'll learn to love running, you'll run more, you'll get better because you run more. Consistency is the key. See you guys.